This is the quote. Or this is the post that I stumbled upon last night as I was like, do we talk about Boeing or do we not? And it's a video, and it says Boeing CEO is stepping down, but don't worry because Boeing taught us that when one door closes, another one blows open.
Waiting for that. True. So true. I'm waiting for the other engine to fall.
Let's hope that doesn't happen. That would be bad news bears.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, let's do this thing. Let's do the ether
thing.
Welcome back to The Ether, the show that disrupts the way you think about running your business. Join me, Brandon, and my co-host, Sean Delaney, the creator of What If, on today's episode. Our goal is to provide context around what we talk about so you have the clarity to cut through the noise and the confidence to grow and run a truly harmonious business. Let's jump in and take the next step to achieving business freedom.
Let's do that. What you just
harmonious sounds fun.
It sounds
run a harmonious business.
Sounds awesome. It really sounds delightful.
You know what's funny? You've heard of the RAS, right? In your brain, the reticular activating system.
I have heard of this.
So this is
now that you've said it, I see it everywhere.
I see it everywhere. Oh, and it's almost like I knew you were going to say that, but I didn't. But okay, so there have been 3 separate instances this week alone where someone has compared running a business to harmony. And I'm like, this is an interesting coincidence. I don't know how we feel about that. How do we feel about that? It's a good analogy.
It's great. Well, they're tapping into a universal truth. Are they people who watch us and now have changed their marketing?
I don't know.
Well, it's interesting. It's good. We claim the space, but hey, look, we tapped into truth. It's true here. It's true in New Zealand. Let's say hi to our friends.
Shout out to the Kiwis. We love you. Thanks for watching. Thank you for your support. We love putting on the ether and harmonious at lunch for our biggest, most rabid audience over there.
I love them. And it's, as we always say around here, human for life, Kiwi forever. No, we never say that.
Do
they say that? Human for life, Kiwi forever? They should.
That's our new tagline here at What If. We are Kiwis at heart, and we love you. We love you, Kiwis. So we're gonna jump in. You've heard of my Kiwi friends were I think at the root of the most recent Boeing issue. So this applies to you guys too. That's awesome. The plane that was violently shook and almost fell out of the sky was headed from Sydney to Auckland, I believe, or something like that. But anyway, it was down in that part of the world. But we're going to talk about the Boeing CEO stepping down, why this is not what it looks like, why it happens all the time in corporate, and it is not the root cause of the problem. It is a cover-up. It's for Wall Street. It's a scam. You're being lied to. It's amazing. We're going to unpack all of it, Sean. I'm excited.
Okay. I don't know if anybody's being lied to. They're not being served by what's broken with it. But yeah, he didn't. So if anybody needed a golden parachute, if you're in the business of making planes where the doors are now optional once you hit 20,000 feet, you need a parachute. But yeah, so we can attack this anyway. We can talk about why people feel it's wrong, why it's absolutely necessary, even though it's broken, and then exactly what to do to fix it. How's that sound? We could do that in 10 minutes and have time to spare.
I bet we can't, but we're gonna try. So yeah, I want to put some of my favorite comments on the screen over here, and we'll
start with all the people angry about it.
Yes, we're gonna start with the angry people. They're hilarious comments. But what is the core of this? It's how do you prevent this in your small business? Because are you on the New York Stock Exchange? Do you have hundreds of thousands of employees? No, but that's okay. You could still face crisis in your business.
The thing they got wrong, the thing everyone gets wrong with these when they're wrong, is a mistake that small businesses are also making. And we'll leave it at that. It doesn't have to, it has nothing to do with high-level corporate exit for a princely sum.
No.
But the mistake, the root of the mistake.
Yes, and that's where we're going to prevent that in your business, or if it's already happened or on the verge of happening, prevent it, fix it, and get back on the right path. So let's start with this one. This is what we hinted at. Casey says, I have a feeling the CEO is not the core of their issue. Yeah, we agree, Casey. So Sean, talk to me. You've been inside the walls of the Fortune 500, the Fortune 100, companies bigger than Boeing, and companies in the same industry as Boeing. So that's kind of, you have an interesting perspective here. What are they covering up here? Like, what's the root cause and how do you go about finding it?
Well, okay, well, I love that you always add like you're why we go late. You tagged 6 questions onto the end.
Yeah,
of that.
I do. The
I think
Kiwis love me.
Here's what I'll say. Of course, with a company that size, while inexcusable, is understandable that they may not know what's going on. Probably don't. Most likely do not know what's going on. You can't tell me that from top to bottom, from CEO down to the person who's supposed to be attaching bolts onto the plane, are in 100% alignment on doing a shitty job for short-term gain, and we're all just going to keep it quiet. There's no way that's possible. You'd have to be monstrous to get to the level of CEO and go, I'm okay with a few, hey, can't make omelets without breaking a few eggs. We're going to cut some corners around here. Industry's coming back. We probably won't lose any lives. There's no way, but let's not say that to the press. There's no way that's what's happening. I'm quite sure that, knowing Boeing's history and a lot of their quality control measures and their culture for a very long time, was statedly 100% in alignment with quality and safety first. Somewhere in that chain, somebody got a different message and started to mess with some things. I have had conversations with very high level people at trusted companies where they have literally told me, okay, you caught us, but go ahead and try to say something. Like, I don't think you understand how important it is. Finish that sentence. For us to keep lying to our clients because we're ripping them off because we're not meeting some of the promises that we've made. When you say it that way, it sounds unethical. When you said it, it sounded unethical. I'm just telling you, right, what I'm going to tell the newspapers if you don't fix it. And then I've seen new executives come in because swaps happened, and the new person finds out what was happening because they were told, not going to say by whom, and they were like, well, let's clean this up. But we're playing politics because at this level, there's only a few chairs left to the top, and we need to keep things good and cool. So there's plausible deniability because nobody really meant to do anything wrong, and it's not like doors were blowing off airplanes. Okay. You can see then how it becomes very hard the more important the issue is and how many hands get attached to the culpability that it might start not getting too high. People might start putting a lid on it. And then one day, enough things are falling off planes that the CEO says, haven't I been talking about quality this whole time? And somewhere, somebody didn't look under the covers enough. Those are the people who absolutely should be dragged into the town square and put on trial. So unless somebody can show me that the CEO, there's a paper trail they knew and they said, keep it quiet, I don't know that that's where the buck stops. I understand why people would call for them to see, because they might be the best person to ferret this out. They might be the exact right person to now say, now that I know what's here, I know exactly where the problems are. They might. I don't know. But so people hate that, well, now they're going to leave and they get this massive payout. And so we shouldn't do these things. Well, of course we should. Of course they should. If you are ever asked to be the CEO of a company that size, publicly traded, the shareholders and all the eyeballs and all the attention and all the money, Your entire life changes. You have to 100, you can't 1 foot in on that job. You're all in. You might have to get security for your children. You're gonna have to put walls around your house. Your life completely changes. You never turn your phone off so you can go to Timmy's baseball game. You don't do that anymore. None of that's there. So for you to be able to commit to the degree that you have to here, well, what guarantees are there for me? Do a good job. That's no guarantee. Are you kidding me? Because if new leadership comes in, I'm out. Board member doesn't like me, I'm out. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. So where's my guarantees? Well, you can go find another job. Do you know how few jobs there are like this one that I'm doing right now? The higher you go, the less of those there are. And to top it off, where would be the most likely place for me to go and get a job? At the competition. And didn't you make me sign something that say I couldn't do that? Yeah, you can't go there either. You're making it really hard for me to make a living after this. What are my guarantees? Well, we'll give you a big sack of money if you're out. Okay, great. But where it goes wrong is, what's the number one thing? Because then there's those people say, well, the shareholders, this is bad for the shareholders to give this person this massive payout when they're out. Now, if it was for cause, if they were the culprit, they shouldn't get it. But saying that if they did nothing wrong, and we take a person like that out, take a CEO out, because we say, and then we say it's not right for the shareholders, that's their money. You invested in this thing. You invested, and what are you investing in? The brand promise. That's what you're investing in. Oh, well, I want a return. Because you believe in that brand promise. If you just wanted a return anywhere, you would have gone and invested in a municipal bond, right? But you believed in that brand promise, and you thought, well, that's going to be a good engine to give me some kind of return. So you invested in that. The number one thing that CEO is supposed to be doing, it's not looking out for you and your return, because then money is first. Once money becomes prime, all bets are off and everything goes out the window. The CEO's job is to protect the brand promise and through effectuating living the company's core values. And if one of those core values is quality, safety first, and that person didn't protect that, they should be out and they should get nothing because they violated the brand promise. If they are protecting the brand promise and others lied to them, those people should be out. And if they're protecting the brand promise and they make huge bets and they don't pan out, like, that's not where it's malfeasance, but it's just, well, the shareholders we didn't hit our earnings numbers targets that somebody made up based on speculation, and we failed to meet it. Why did we fail to meet it? COVID destroyed our supply chain. We didn't know it was coming. Fair. Black Swan, you shouldn't be out. Of course you made bets. Did you violate the brand promise in order to make us money? No. Then you should still be right there. What a wonderful steward of this thing. And if we need higher rates of return somewhere, we don't destroy the brand promise or violate our core values in order to get it. We find other things to do. And if you shareholders don't like the rate of return we can get, respecting our promise, respecting our clients, and respecting our core values, then you should invest somewhere else. You can never give those people that power. This is not theirs to do any more than it would be where, well, we're going to get a new CEO in here and they're going to turn everything around. Wait. Are they going to start making really terrible? Are they going to destroy everything that people love about Star Wars? Yes. I don't know that they're the right one to protect the mission. We still doing family fun movies, or are we doing socially agenda-driven movies? Well, we're going to do the second one for a while. Then every dollar that now leaves and all the problems you have lay at the feet of the CEO because they violated the promise and they violated the core values. Well, it's time for a change. Says you, not the people buying your thing, for whom you are the steward of the brand promise. The brand promise for Boeing for most people is the damn thing stays in the air with all its parts and people inside. Does its thing. Well, right. Well, did he land? Well, he's on the ground.
And are all the parts there? Well,
yeah.
find all of the parts.
So that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All of your questions, you jammed a lot of questions in there. I know we only
2 questions. It was a 2-part question, and it was a fair answer. But I want to read some of these other comments because they're somewhat hysterical. Most of them are very funny. I love this one. He was Dave Calhoun, Boeing CEO, was the best CEO Airbus ever had. Amazing. Yeah, Airbus stock is through the roof. This is not financial advice, but maybe invest there. Here's another one, another good one. Imagine being so bad at your job, they pay you $75 million to leave. That's what we should all strive for, I think. Like, we're missing the boat. Let's not be so good at something. Let's be so bad they pay us to leave. I think that's...
And look, I'm not making excuses. When I say I'm talking in the generalities of people just say this should never happen for any CEO anywhere. It's like, well, we can understand why they should have some kind of payout if they're removed for reasons that aren't for malfeasance or doing something wrong. He might be terrible at the job. He should have been, but then he should not be getting that payout. They screwed it up.
But it could be. I mean, we don't know what it's made up of. It's not 75 million. It actually, the latest number I saw was like 42 million. But he barely have stock options. Like, he could have a number of different things that are rightfully his when he signed on to be the Boeing CEO. He could have lowered his salary, had more stock options, and when he leaves, he obviously takes those and cashes out. Sure. That to me is totally fine. I mean, you did your job over the course of, he was there since 2019, so 4 or 5 years, 6 years by the time he leaves, and all of these issues came in a very short window. So,
but that's the flip side. If they didn't write this, if they didn't write it correctly and make it based on performance, the things that we can absolutely point to and know are true. If they didn't do that, then yeah, companies get themselves stuck where they have to sometimes hold on to people that like it's worth it to keep them because this quarter's not good for firing people who get that kind of payout. Right? It's all then just becomes economics. And you can't swing a cat in any major corporation without finding a couple of those people kicking around. And most of the rank and file are going, they're still here. How are they still here? That's why they're still there, because they're too expensive to fire. Mm-hmm. So let's just wall them off, give them special projects until they kind of peter out. Right?
Yeah, that's fair. I do love this comment, though. I mean, we're talking leadership, right? Love or hate Boeing, they had a fantastic open door policy.
Some people say it sucked. I don't know. It depends on which side of the door you're on.
Yeah, if you're real close to it, it probably wasn't that much fun. But
on this side of the door, it sucks. On this side of the door, it's very liberating. It's very freeing.
But all right, I want to talk about this, and I want to talk about getting to the root cause. So Lynn Sander, shout out to you. Doubt any of these issues were Boeing's design. Let's see what the NTSB returns. I'd bet it'd be shoddy maintenance resulting from CFOs trying to cut costs. 2 episodes ago or 3 episodes ago, we talked about the role of a CFO and what that looks like when maybe a little too much weight is placed on their opinion in terms of cutting costs. This is a very serious example where human lives are at risk, where in that example, we're just talking about Wendy's and Costco. Mm-hmm. Totally different. But I see this playing out because if you actually look back at Boeing's history, they did cut engineers and they hired more accountants. So this to me is very clear that cost cutting was a priority, and obviously they risked safety measures. So what you're going in as the consultant, Sean, give me like 3 areas you're going to look and how you're going to get there to really hone in on what the root cause is in terms of lack of safety procedures.
Okay. So it depends on which God, you ask these questions. Depends on where I'm looking for the problem. If it's amongst the senior leadership team,
it's not there. We know it's not there because there's
question. Well, you asked me, how do I know where it is? And so I have to find out which of them play well together and who is communicating to whom, because I'm looking for the connections between those departments. I can do that, and I have to do that at 2 different levels. I have to do it much close to where the problem happened, because I need to see just how dysfunctional is it at the lower levels. And I also have to compare it to the upper levels to see, is this something that's starting from the top or is it broken somewhere in the middle? That's the fastest way to decide. Is it, because if it's here and here, we probably know it runs right through the center of this company. Right. And so but rank and file is who knows exactly what's going on. Let me get the people who typically put the doors on. Let me look at, I have to talk to HR to say, how are these people compensated? Well, what do you mean? How are they measured? Because what you measure is what you're going to get. So I don't care how many times you say safety first. If somebody comes around with a clipboard and says, you're 3 rivets behind, let's go. Right? Are they there with a stopwatch? Are they counting how many parts I saved afterwards? Wow, you're really saving us a lot.
I do when I put furniture together. Not good on planes.
No. So you have to start looking at how are people compensated is a great question, because that goes to the very heart of why the CFO was empowered to just start to say, okay, well, the shareholders calling the stocks. Safety doesn't sell planes, people. Yes, it does. Safety doesn't make us money, people. Well, it does. Not the short term. Let's make them cheaper. And so if the CEO was calling that shot, saying safety's still first, but let's see where we can squeeze out every nickel, and CFO, you start setting policy. No way. This is like when JFK was president, he had a secretary of war. I forget who he named, but everyone said, that guy's a war hawk. He constantly wants to go to war. Why would you ever have him advising you on foreign policy? He said, he's not. I would never ask him his opinion on what to do foreign policy. He's going to tell me to bomb them. I know what his answer is there. But if I do go to war, he's the one I want running it. Right? So your CFO, look at them in the same way. I'm not going to advise them on, ask them for their advice on policy. That could be disastrous if I'm only asking them to look at this company through the lens of profit and loss. So, but if I need to save some money or do some other things financially, they're absolutely the person I want to tell me their opinion, and then we bump it up against the core values. If their advice doesn't violate our brand promise or any of our core values, have at it all day, every day. But as the CEO, you're the steward of that. You're the protector of that. You can't ever let that advice come in and violate that. And you can't let any of your leadership team violate it with any of the things that they're doing or any of the policy changes they're making, et cetera, down the line. Those have to be the first 2 things. You protect that at all costs, and no one that you're serving will ever be displeased with you.
So there's a gold nugget for you. What you're saying is bonuses and incentives and raises should be based on supporting the core values and mission and vision of the company. But I think too often we look at, especially in this type of a manufacturing setting, it's just based on efficiency. Well, efficiency directly is the direct inverse of what Boeing's core value of safety is. So efficiency and safety cannot really go well together as in the form of a bonus. So if you, regardless of what your business structure is, if you can figure out a bonus or incentive structure that support your mission, vision, and values, you're only ever going to build up your company. You'll never find yourself in a situation like this as long as you are a good example of living that out.
If you tell your children to behave, we like behaving as a family. Great. We like quiet discussions about things. Okay. And every time they raise their voice and throw something, you give them a piece of candy to shut them up. Which kid are you going to get? The one that you get what you tolerate? That is the bar you set. Is what you tolerate.
Reward. It's not in that scenario.
Reward. Well, I said the bar you set is what you tolerate, because then the lowest performer that you never take out or correct, people say, why am I killing myself around here? Ted doesn't do anything, and he's still here. I'll stop. And now you've set a new level, and you're hoping that people on their own will try to be better. Okay, you're building in the wrong direction. So that's that. But what you reward, doesn't matter what you say your core values are. If you as a leader are not living them, and you don't also expect it of people, and how do I know it's expected of me? I'm told it, I'm held to it, I'm asked to hold myself to it, my peers to it, and we're incented towards it. We're given praise when we're following it and asked to leave when we don't, or at least correct our behavior. And then my bonus is tied to that. How well do I respect the mission, support the mission, contribute to the vision? That's what you measure then, and what you reward is what you will get all day, every day, regardless of what your job is. I've seen people in call centers hanging up on people mid-call, and when we pulled all their calls, like they were getting praised for having the quickest turnaround time, speed to answer, however you want to phrase it. The calls were call resolution. This person was through the roof. They're lauding him with praise, saying he's the example. So he was an outlier. I said, can we pull all his calls? I want to hear them. And what he was doing was saying, thank you for calling ABC. Before you tell me what your issue is, just want to let you know we're having a problem with our phone system. So if we get cut off, just call back. But I just wanted to let you know it's not me. So what's your problem? And Brandon says, well, my problem is, and the guy goes, click.
Good job. You took a call.
So we'll call back. So we said, like 38 seconds, whatever it was. It wasn't that fast. You just call and go back to sitting there, not doing any work. And then, knowing his bonus was going to be stellar this quarter because I'm killing it with my metrics. And then, if the person did call back, they weren't going to go back to him. He never gave out his direct line. They were just going to get routed to the next available. And that person would go, oh, Brandon, thank goodness I got you on the phone. You sound so nice and helpful. I just got cut off from someone. And the person who has it now goes, yeah, I don't know. Probably nothing works around here. Just it doesn't occur. And if by a miracle, they go back to this guy, he'd go, oh yeah, I'm so glad I got you. I got you back, Brandon. I told you it could happen. So anyway, if it happens again, what do you think? So anyway, as I was saying, my problem is a clickaroo. And so I got to keep my metrics high. That's what he was incented on. As opposed to the person who spent an inordinate amount of time trying to resolve something for a very happy customer.
I love it. So be careful what you tolerate, be even more careful what you reward through what you're measuring, and make sure it's tied to the right thing. So, Sean, last question. If you find yourself in the situation of Boeing or anything similar, things are going wrong, you don't have a full control on where your business is, how it's operating, maybe your stress levels through the roof, you're working too many hours in business. Let me ask you one question. What are the exact 50 questions you would ask to figure out where that problem is coming from?
Ooh, the fastest way you can find that out is to take the bad. That's right there in that link, because the bad is our business architecture diagnostic. It's the same 50 questions I ask any company, whether it was a Fortune 100, some of the clients I've had there, down to solopreneurs. We start with those 50 questions, and those 50 questions give us an insanely accurate picture of exactly where the hidden drains, problems, hurdles, and hangups are inside of your business, and tell you right where to start digging to find the problem. That's where I would start, Brandon, because those 50 questions can be answered in less than 8 minutes. And who wouldn't trade 8 minutes for total clarity as to what's holding them back?
Someone who's a little cuckoo. So don't be cuckoo. Go take the assessment. We'll see you next week on the Ether.